From an iconic stuffed animal to the first wonder weapon ever created, these are 47 most nostalgic things in the history of Call of Duty Zombies. Nacht der Untoten is where zombies all began, and the intro cutscene will have a ton of nostalgia for the player, especially if it was their first map they ever played. There's just something about the Origins ending cutscene that makes it great. It could be the music, the setting, the characters, or maybe just all of it. But either way, it's one of the best and people love it. The round change music is one of the more underrated nostalgic things in Zombies. Whenever players hear there's no way they don't reminisce on their old memories. Speaking of nostalgic sounds, the classic menu music for Zombies will always bring nostalgia for players. If there was a video game songs tier list, it would be A tier. When players buy a perk, the machine emits a perk jingle. Whenever players hear these songs, it brings back their memories of buying the perks, probably long ago. The original crew from the Ether storyline will always bring joy to players. Anytime there's an in-game quote from one of them, it makes them reminisce on the older days of Zombies. The core 4 perks of Juggernog, Speed Cola, Double Tap, and Quick Revive will always hold nostalgia because they've been in almost every Zombies map ever since their inception in Verrückt. Something else that's been in pretty much every Zombies map is the mystery box, specifically the jingle, and then eventually getting a teddy bear is one of the most nostalgic things in the history of Zombies. The Thunder Gun is probably the second most iconic wonder weapon ever, and players generally have good memories using it to blast zombies away in various maps. It goes without saying that the starting pistol carries a ton of nostalgia for Zombies fans, probably because it's been in pretty much every single Zombies game they've ever played. Most of the loading screens for the older maps will carry a ton of nostalgia. Some of the best are Green Run, Kino der Toten,
Group 935. I still do not trust my
and others based on personal preference. The sound that guns make when they're pack-a-punched usually brings back fond memories of high rounding, and it's one of those iconic sounds that would just be recognized anywhere. The sound that's made when a player starts a new round is perfect. There's no way that players don't immediately call to mind memories of whatever map the sound is from. Turning on the power in Kino der Toten will always have nostalgia because of the way the curtains open and it reveals the entire map. It's just iconic. If players played a lot of Transit, the bus honk will hold nostalgia, probably because it brings back memories of riding the bus with their friends and joking about Ted. Speaking of Ted, hearing his voice will probably bring back those same bus memories. Everyone has their favorite camp spots in Zombies history, whether it be the Derice Catwalk, the buried Juggernog Alley, or any other spots. They all bring back memories of the late nights spent there. Speaking of late nights, there was probably a time in your life where you played split-screen Zombies with your friends, either late at night or maybe some other time. But looking back on those days, I don't know how we dealt with the small screen and the dips in resolution, but I'm really glad that we all did. The release of Zombie Chronicles might have been the all-time peak of Zombies. Bringing back a ton of the most loved maps was just a special time for the Zombies community. The Origin stabs will always be extremely cool to players. Pretty much everything about them, building them, upgrading them, and just using them, pretty much just everything about them is just awesome. Players will always have nostalgia for the first Easter egg they ever beat. It varies per player, but some examples might be Moon, Origins, or Shadows of Evil. Going along with Easter eggs, blowing up the moon was one of the cooler ones, but the nostalgia really kicks in when players hear this quote. This next one might be my personal #1 most nostalgic thing. It's the Mob of the Dead music. These songs just always give me chills. Speaking of good music, Shadows of Evil might have the best soundtrack in any Zombies map. Especially the round change music. It always brings back the good memories of 2015. The BO1 MP40 is one of the more OG guns in Zombies history. The sound and feel of this gun will always make it fun to use. The Dreisendracht bows were almost a direct sequel to the Origin stabs, and players love them just as much. Whenever players see these bows, they think of the good times playing Dreisendracht. The Ray Gun Mark II was introduced in Black Ops 2 and instantly became one of the favorite wonder weapons to ever exist. Using this gun reminds players of the times they would get it from the mystery box and then be set for the whole game. The elevator music on 5 always brings back memories of going down it with the boys. after barely making it out of the starting room. The Call of the Dead intro cutscene is one of the coolest intros to a map fans have ever gotten. It always does a great job of setting the stage for an iconic map. The noise when the perks drop on Nuketown always brings back the feeling of excitement because when playing, players will usually be waiting for only one perk, Juggernog. Pack-a-Punch has had some pretty interesting locations, but two of the best are flying to the Golden Gate Bridge in Mob of the Dead and flying via the Dragon in Gorod Krovi. Every time I do either of these, it makes me glad that they were even added to the games. One of the most OP wonder weapons ever in Zombies is the Apothicon Servant. When it was first introduced, I remember feeling incredibly OP and almost feeling like I was cheating in Zombies. Zombies has had some incredible Pack-a-Punch camos in its history. Some examples are Origins, Revelations, and Mob of the Dead, but it's all personal preference for which one gives the most nostalgia. The Zombies announcers in general always bring back nostalgia from the good old days. Everyone has their favorite announcers, and mine personally is Samantha on Origins. Using Leroy to open up everything around Buried will always be fun to me. It'll always make me remember that I never used to even know how to unlock his cage, cause that was always my friend's job. Some of the Easter egg songs Treyarch added, or just Zombies songs in general, are straight heat. I can't play them for copyright, but on screen are some of my favorites. The Flogger was the first trap ever added to Zombies, and for this reason, it gives players the nostalgic feeling of killing zombies with it for the first time. The sound of the windows breaking in 5 will always be iconic for that map. It just reminds me of when I used to struggle to stay alive in the spawn. Hearing the Pack-a-Punch machine jingle always makes me think about when my friends and I would play Town and we would be too scared to Pack-a-Punch because it was in lava. The death of Richtofen was one of the most heartbreaking events in the Ether story. A lot of players revealed that this made them cry when they were watching it, and most people probably vividly remember seeing this for the first time. Players turning on the Pack-a-Punch in Der Riese will always bring back memories, especially because it was the first map that introduced the machine. The ray gun was the first wonder weapon ever added. Every single Zombies player has at least one memory of pulling this out of the box and being super excited that they get to use it. These next 4 need no explanation. If you know, you know. Using the Galvanuckles, classic. The baby gun, one of the most fun wonder weapons. Putting on the Moon PES. If you know, you know. I don't know why this would, yeah. The laughing at the end of Zombies games. If you at all felt any nostalgia, you have to watch this video. Have a nice day.